The warning lights inside the shuttle turned red. Alarms screamed in every direction. Jinho Park held tight to his seat as the small ship shook like a leaf in a storm. Through the cracked window, he could see purple clouds rushing past him. The planet below was getting closer and closer. Come on, Jinho whispered to himself. His fingers moved fast over the control panel, but nothing worked. The engine was dead. The steering was broken. He was falling, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. Jinho was a lieutenant in the United Earth Exploration Corps. His job was simple: fly to new planets, take pictures, collect samples, report back to the main ship. He had done this mission many times before, but today something went wrong. A strange energy pulse from the planet had hit his shuttle and killed all the systems. The ground came fast. Jinho pulled his safety straps tight and covered his head. The crash was loud and violent. Metal screamed. Glass shattered. His body was thrown forward, then back, then sideways. Then everything went dark. When Jinho opened his eyes, he did not know how much time had passed. His head was bleeding. His left arm hurt badly, but he was alive. That was the important thing. He was alive. He pulled himself out of the broken shuttle and looked around. The planet was strange and beautiful. The trees were made of some kind of crystal. They glowed soft blue and purple in the dim light. The sky above was a deep violet color with two small moons hanging in the distance. The air was cold but clean. He could breathe without his helmet. Jinho checked his equipment. His communication device was destroyed. His emergency beacon was damaged but still working. It would send a signal, but he did not know if anyone would receive it. His food supplies were limited, maybe enough for 3 weeks if he was careful. His water filter still worked. His small plasma pistol was still in his belt. "Okay," he said to himself, "I can survive this. I just need to stay calm." He found a cave near the crash site. It was dry inside and protected from the wind. He set up his small camp there. He made a fire using broken pieces from his shuttle. He cooked some of his emergency food, a simple protein stew. It did not taste good, but it was warm and filling. As night came, the crystal forest began to glow brighter. It was beautiful, like something from a dream. Jinho sat by his fire and ate his meal slowly. He thought about his family back on Earth. His mother Minji, who always worried about him. His younger sister Hana, who wanted to be a pilot just like him. He wondered if he would ever see them again. Then he heard something. A small sound, like tiny feet moving on stone. Jinho put down his food and reached for his pistol. He looked into the darkness of the cave. At first, he saw nothing. Then slowly, 3 small shapes moved into the light of his fire. Jinho forgot to breathe. They were small creatures, no bigger than cats. They had scales that shimmered in many colors: blue, green, purple, gold. They had small wings folded against their backs. Their tails were long and thin. Their heads were shaped like triangles with big eyes that reflected the firelight. They looked like dragons, tiny baby dragons. But they were not healthy. Jinho could see their ribs through their thin skin. Their scales were dull in some places. They moved slowly, like they had no energy. They were starving. The 3 little creatures huddled together and stared at Jinho. They did not attack. They did not run away. They just watched him with big, golden eyes full of hunger and fear. Then something impossible happened. A voice appeared in Jinho's head. It was not a sound he heard with his ears. It was more like a thought that was not his own. A small, weak voice that said, "Please, can we eat your leftovers? We have not eaten in many cycles. We are so hungry." Jinho dropped his spoon. It fell to the ground with a small clang. He stared at the creatures with wide eyes. Did they just talk to him? In his mind. "Please," the voice came again. "We will not hurt you. We are too weak. We just need food. Anything, please." Jinho looked at his bowl of stew. Then he looked at the 3 small dragons. They were shaking. From cold or from hunger, he did not know. Maybe both. Their eyes were so big and so sad. They reminded him of the stray cats he used to feed back in his hometown. He was a soldier. He was trained to be careful, to protect himself first, to not trust unknown alien life forms. But looking at these small, starving creatures, he could not follow those rules. They were just bobbies, hungry bobbies asking for help. Jinho picked up his bowl and slowly walked toward them. The dragons backed away a little, scared, but they did not run. He placed the bowl on the ground in front of them. "Here," he said out loud, even though he was not sure they could understand his words. "You can have it, eat." The three creatures looked at the bowl, then at him, then at each other. Slowly, carefully, they moved forward. The first one dipped its small snout into the stew and began to eat. Then the second one joined. Then the third. They ate fast, like they had not seen food in a very long time. Jinho sat down on a rock and watched them. His heart felt heavy and light at the same time. Heavy because he had just given away his food on a planet where food was hard to find. Light because he had helped someone who needed help, even if that someone was a group of tiny alien dragons. When the bowl was empty, the three creatures looked up at him. The voice came into his mind again, but this time it felt different, warmer, full of feeling. "Thank you, kind creature. Thank you. We will remember this. We will remember you." Jinho smiled a small smile. "You are welcome. What are you? Where did you come from?" The creatures looked at each other. Then one of them, the smallest one with bright blue scales, sent another thought into his mind. "We are Velthrani. We are children of the Great One. Bad creatures came. They hurt our mother. She hid us here to keep us safe. Then she left. She has not come back. We have been alone for many cycles." Jinho felt his chest tighten. These were children. Lost, scared, hungry children. Their mother was gone. They were alone on this dangerous planet with no one to care for them. He looked at the three small dragons. They looked back at him with hope in their eyes, hope that he might help them, hope that they might not die alone in this dark cave. Jinho made a decision that would change his life forever. "Okay," he said softly. "I will help you. I do not know how yet, but I will help you. We will find your mother together." The three dragons moved closer to him. They did not touch him, but they stayed near, like they trusted him, like they believed his words. Outside the cave, the crystal forest glowed under the violet sky. Somewhere on this strange planet, a wounded mother waited, and a human man who had crashed from the stars had just promised to find her. Jinho did not know what the future would bring. He did not know if he would survive, but he knew one thing for certain. He was not alone anymore, and neither were they. The first night with the baby dragons was strange but peaceful. Jinho did not sleep well. He kept waking up to check on the three small creatures. They had curled up together near the fire, their tiny bodies pressed close for warmth. Their breathing was soft and steady. They looked so small and helpless. When morning came, Jinho opened his eyes to find all three dragons staring at him. Their golden eyes watched his every move. They did not look scared anymore. They looked curious. "Good morning," Jinho said. He stretched his arms and stood up slowly. His body was sore from the crash. His left arm still hurt, but the bleeding had stopped. A thought entered his mind. It was from the dragons. "Good morning, kind human. Are you hurt? You make pain sounds when you move." Jinho was still not used to hearing thoughts in his head. It felt strange, like having someone whisper directly into his brain, but he was getting better at understanding it. "I am okay," he said, "just a little sore. The crash was hard." The three dragons looked at each other. Then the one with green scales sent a thought. "We watched your sky machine fall. It was very loud, very bright. We thought you were dead." "Almost," Jinho admitted, "but I got lucky." He looked at his remaining food supplies. After giving his stew to the dragons last night, he had less than he hoped. He needed to be more careful, but he also could not let the bobbies starve. He would have to find food on this planet. "I need to find something to eat," Jinho said. "Do you know what is safe to eat here? What do you eat?" The smallest dragon, the one with blue scales, answered, "We eat small animals, birds, fish from the river, sometimes plants with red leaves, but we cannot hunt. We are too young, too weak. Our mother always brought us food." Jinho nodded. "Then I will hunt for all of us. Show me where the river is." The dragons led him through the crystal forest. The trees were beautiful in the morning light. They sparkled like diamonds. The ground was covered in soft purple moss. Strange flowers grew everywhere, their petals glowing faintly. As they walked, Jinho decided to give the dragons names. He could not keep calling them the dragons in his head. "I want to give you names," he said. "Is that okay? Human names so I can call you." The dragons seemed confused by this idea. "Names? We have names. We are the children of Velthara, that is our name." "I mean individual names," Jinho explained. "One name for each of you, so I know who I am talking to." The dragons talked to each other in their mind speech. Jinho could feel their thoughts brushing against his mind, but he could not understand their private conversation. Finally, they turned back to him. "We would like that," the blue one said. "What names will you give us?" Jinho thought for a moment. He looked at the blue dragon, small and curious, always asking questions. "I will call you Bomb. It means spring in my language, the time when new things grow." The blue dragon seemed happy. Its scales glowed a little brighter. Jinho looked at the green dragon. It was the most careful of the three, always watching, always thinking. "I will call you Duri. It means two in my language, but it also sounds like a word for companion." The green dragon dipped its head in acceptance. Finally, Jinho looked at the third dragon. This one had purple scales and was the bravest. It had been the first to approach Jinho, the first to eat from his bowl. "I will call you Nuri. It means world in my language, because you were brave enough to explore the world first." The purple dragon spread its tiny wings with pride. "Nuri, I like it." They reached the river by midday. The water was clear and cold. Jinho could see strange fish swimming beneath the surface. They were not like earth fish. They had too many eyes and their scales glowed softly. But the dragons said they were safe to eat, so Jinho decided to trust them. He made a simple spear from a long branch and a sharp stone. Then he stood in the shallow water and waited. Hunting fish with a spear was not easy. He missed many times. The dragons watched from the shore, their heads tilting with each failed attempt. But Jinho did not give up. He waited. He watched. He learned how the fish moved, and finally, after many tries, he caught one, then another, then another. By the time the sun began to set, he had caught 5 fish. It was not a lot, but it was enough. He cooked them over a fire and they all ate together. The dragons ate their fish raw. They seemed to prefer it that way. As they ate, Jinho asked them more questions about their mother. Through their thoughts and the images they sent into his mind, he learned the full story. The Velthrani were an ancient species. They had lived on this planet for thousands of years. They were intelligent, powerful, and peaceful. They did not start fights, but they could end them. A full-grown Velthrani was the most dangerous creature on the planet. Nothing could challenge them. But then the outsiders came, beings from other worlds. They came in ships like Jinho's, but bigger, meaner. They were hunters, poachers. They wanted Velthrani scales and organs. These things were worth a fortune on the black market. One Velthrani scale could buy a small starship. The poachers had found the nest where Velthara lived with her bobbies. They attacked at night when the children were sleeping. Velthara fought them. She killed many of them, but there were too many and they had weapons that hurt even her. She was badly wounded. Before the poachers could take the bobbies, Velthara grabbed them in her great claws and flew away. She carried them across mountains and valleys until she found this cave. She put them inside and told them to hide. "Wait here," she had told them. "Do not make sounds. Do not let anyone see you. I will come back for you, I promise." Then she left. That was 15 cycles ago. She had not returned. Jinho listened to this story with a heavy heart. The images the dragons sent him were full of fear and sadness. He could feel their pain like it was his own. They missed their mother so much. They did not know if she was alive or dead. They only knew she had not come back. "We can still feel her," Baum said. The little blue dragon's thoughts were sad but hopeful. "Through the bond, all Velthrani are connected. We can feel her heart beating somewhere far away, but she is weak, so weak." "She is hurt," Duri added. "The bond feels wrong, like something is broken inside her." "She cannot come to us," Nuri said, "so we must go to her." Jinho understood now why the dragons had approached him. They were not just hungry. They needed help, real help. They were too young and too weak to survive alone. They could not make the journey to find their mother by themselves, but maybe with a human's help they could. Jinho looked at the three small dragons. They looked back at him with hope in their golden eyes. He was a stranger from another world. He had no reason to help them. He had his own problems, his own survival to think about. But he could not say no. He could not look at these small, scared children and tell them he would not help. That was not who he was. That was not how his mother had raised him. "I will help you," Jinho said firmly. "We will find your mother together, I promise." The dragons rushed toward him. They did not attack. They pressed their small bodies against his legs, their scales warm against his skin. He could feel their gratitude flowing through the mental bond. It was overwhelming. Pure love and thanks, more powerful than any words. Jinho placed his hands on their heads gently. "Get some rest tonight. Tomorrow we start our journey. We are going to find Velthara." That night, for the first time since the crash, Jinho did not feel alone. He had a purpose now. He had three small dragons depending on him. And somewhere on this planet, a wounded mother was waiting for her children. He would not let them down. No matter what dangers waited ahead, he would bring this family back together. It was the right thing to do. And sometimes that was the only reason a person needed. The journey began at dawn. Jinho packed everything he could carry: water, dried fish, his pistol, a knife, and a small blanket. The three dragons walked beside him, their small legs working hard to keep up with his longer steps. Baum, Duri, and Nuri could feel their mother through the Velthrani bond. It was like a compass in their minds, always pointing toward her. She was far away in the mountains to the north. The tall peaks rose in the distance, covered in snow and mystery. "It will take many days to reach her," Duri told Jinho through their mental link. "The path is dangerous. Many creatures live between here and there." Jinho nodded. He had expected this. Nothing worth doing was ever easy. "Then we will be careful, stay close to me. If we see danger, hide behind me. Understand?" The three dragons agreed. They trusted this strange human who had given them food and promised to help. They did not fully understand why he was helping them. In their experience, creatures helped their own kind. Not strangers, not aliens from the sky. But this human was different. He cared about them even though they were not his family. The first 2 days were not too hard. The crystal forest was peaceful. They saw strange animals, but none attacked them. Jinho hunted for food each evening. He was getting better with his spear. The dragons helped by using their sharp eyes to spot fish in the rivers and small birds in the trees. At night they slept in caves or under large crystal trees. Jinho made fires to keep them warm. The dragons curled up around him, their small bodies like heating pads. Despite the danger, these nights felt almost peaceful. Jinho told them stories about Earth, about the blue oceans and green forests, about the cities full of humans, about his family. "Your mother," Baum asked one night, "is she like you? Does she help others?" Jinho smiled at the memory of his mother. "Yes, she is a doctor. She helps sick people get better. She always told me that the most important thing in life is to be kind, even when it is hard, even when no one is watching." The dragons seemed to think about this. "Your mother sounds wise," Nuri said. "Like our mother, she taught us that the strong must protect the weak. That is the Velthrani way." I think humans and Velthrani are not so different, Jinho said. On the third day, the land began to change. The crystal forest ended. In front of them was a valley filled with steam and hot springs. The air smelled like rotten eggs. The ground was hot under their feet. Geysers shot boiling water into the sky without warning. We must cross this place, Duri said. There is no other way to the mountains. Jinho studied the valley carefully. It was dangerous but not impossible. Stay behind me. Step only where I step. If you hear a rumbling sound, run to me immediately. They entered the valley slowly. Jinho tested the ground with his feet before each step. The heat was terrible. Sweat poured down his face. The dragons did better. Their scales protected them from the heat, but they were scared of the geysers. Each time one exploded, they jumped in fear. Halfway through the valley, disaster almost struck. Nuri, the bravest of the three, moved ahead too fast. The ground beneath him began to shake. A geyser was about to erupt right where he stood. Jinho did not think. He ran forward, grabbed Nuri with both hands, and threw himself to the side. A second later, boiling water shot into the sky right where Nuri had been standing. The heat burned Jinho's back through his clothes. He screamed in pain but held Nuri tight, protecting the small dragon with his body. When it was over, Jinho lay on the ground, breathing hard. His back was burned and hurting, but Nuri was safe. Why? Nuri asked, his golden eyes wide with shock. Why did you do that? You are hurt. You could have died. Jinho sat up slowly, wincing at the pain. Because you are my friend, I protect my friends, even if it hurts. The dragons were silent. They had never seen anything like this. A creature risking its life for someone not of its kind. It was strange. It was wonderful. It was human. They made it through the valley by nightfall. Jinho's back was painful, but he did not complain. He cleaned the burn with water and wrapped it as best he could. He would survive. He had survived worse during his training. The fourth and fifth days brought new challenges. They climbed rocky hills and crossed fast rivers. Jinho carried the dragons when they were too tired to walk. They were light, but his body was weak from hunger and pain. He pushed forward anyway. On the sixth day, they were attacked. They were crossing a narrow path between two cliffs when the predators appeared, 6 of them. They looked like wolves, but with 6 legs and scales instead of fur. Their eyes were red. Their teeth were long and sharp. They were hungry and they had found prey. The dragons hid behind Jinho, shaking with fear. These creatures were called thornbacks by the Velthrani. They were pack hunters, deadly and smart. Even adult Velthrani avoided fighting groups of them. Jinho stood his ground. He held his spear in one hand and his pistol in the other. His heart was pounding. His hands were shaking. But he did not run. Running would only make them chase harder. "Stay behind me," he told the dragons. "No matter what happens, stay behind me." The lead thornback stepped forward and growled. It was testing him, seeing if he would flee. Jinho answered by shouting at the top of his lungs, a loud, angry human roar. The sound echoed off the cliffs. The thornback paused. It had not expected that. Prey did not roar. Prey ran. Jinho took a step forward, still shouting, still looking the predator in the eyes. He raised his spear high. He looked as big and dangerous as he could. "Come on then," he screamed. "Come and try. I will take at least 2 of you with me. Which of you wants to die first?" The thornbacks hesitated. They looked at each other. This creature was strange. It was small, with no claws and no scales, but it did not act like prey. It acted like a predator, a crazy, fearless predator. Jinho fired his pistol into the air. The loud bang echoed across the valley. The thornbacks jumped back in fear. They had never heard such a sound. It was like thunder, but closer, more dangerous. The lead thornback made a decision. This prey was not worth the risk. With a low growl, it turned and ran. The others followed. In seconds, they were gone. Jinho fell to his knees. His whole body was shaking. He had been terrified, absolutely terrified, but he had not shown it. He had bluffed his way through, and it had worked. The dragons rushed to his side. They nuzzled against him, their scales warm and comforting. "You were so brave," Baum whispered in his mind. "You have no claws, no scales, no venom, but you fought like you had already won." "Humans are stubborn," Jinho said with a weak laugh. "We do not know when to quit. It is both our greatest strength and our greatest weakness." Dury looked at him with new respect. "We were wrong about humans. The ones who hurt our mother were cruel, but you are different. You are good." Jinho patted Dury's head gently. "There are good and bad in every species. I hope you will remember that. Not all humans are evil, just like not all Velthrani are good. We are all individuals. We make our own choices." That night they camped near a small waterfall. Jinho's body was broken and tired. His back still hurt from the burn. His legs ached from walking, but his spirit was strong. They were getting closer. He could feel it. Baum, Dury, and Nuri curled up around him like they did every night. But this time, it felt different. They were not just companions anymore. They were family. A strange family made of different species from different worlds, but family all the same. "One more day," Nuri said as they fell asleep. "Mother is close. I can feel her." Jinho looked at the stars above. Somewhere out there, his own people were searching for him. Somewhere on this planet, a wounded dragon mother waited for her children. And here he was in the middle, connecting them all. "One more day," he agreed. "Let us bring your family back together." On the seventh day, they reached the highest peak. The air was thin and cold. Snow covered everything. Jinho's breath came out in white clouds. His fingers were numb. His body was exhausted beyond anything he had ever felt before. But they had made it. They were here. The entrance to the cave was huge. It was carved into the side of the mountain like a giant doorway. Strange symbols covered the rocks around it, ancient writings that Jinho could not read. The dragon said these were Velthrani words, prayers for protection, warnings for enemies. "She is inside," Baum said. The little blue dragon was trembling, not from cold but from emotion. "I can feel her. She is so close, so close." Dury and Nuri pressed against Jinho's legs. They were scared. What if their mother did not recognize them? What if she was too hurt to speak? What if she was angry at them for bringing a human? Jinho understood their fear. He felt it too. He had carried these small dragons for 7 days. He had fed them, protected them, loved them, but he was still a stranger. He was still the same species as the creatures who had hurt their mother. "Stay calm," Jinho said gently. "No matter what happens inside, stay calm. Your mother loves you. That will not change." They walked into the cave. The darkness swallowed them. Jinho turned on his small flashlight. It barely cut through the blackness. The air inside was warm and smelled of something ancient, like old books and burning wood mixed together. The tunnel went deep into the mountain. They walked for what felt like hours. The walls grew wider. The ceiling grew higher. They were entering a massive chamber, a place built for something enormous. Then Jinho saw her. He stopped walking. His flashlight fell from his hand. His mouth opened, but no words came out. She was huge. No, huge was not the right word. She was beyond huge. She was impossible. Her body filled the entire chamber. Her scales shimmered like galaxies. Blues, purples, golds, silvers. Colors that Jinho did not have names for. Colors that should not exist. Her wings were folded against her sides, but Jinho could tell they were massive, big enough to block out the sun. Her tail curved around the chamber, longer than any building Jinho had ever seen. Her claws were like swords. Her teeth were like mountains. And her eyes were pools of molten gold, ancient, wise, filled with pain and power and something Jinho could not understand. Velthara, the Great One, mother of the Eastern Clutch. Jinho could not move. His brain had stopped working. Every survival instinct in his body screamed at him to run. This creature could destroy him with a single breath. She could crush him like a bug without even trying. He was nothing compared to her, nothing at all. But then those golden eyes looked at him, really looked at him, and a voice filled his mind. It was not like the voices of the baby dragons. This voice was deep, ancient, powerful, like hearing the universe itself speak. "A human, you brought a human to my chamber." The voice was not angry, it was surprised, confused, and something else, something like wonder. The three baby dragons rushed forward. They ran to their mother and pressed against her enormous snout, crying with joy. Their small bodies looked so tiny against her massive form, like ants next to a mountain. "Mother, mother, we found you, we came back." Velthara made a sound. It was low and rumbling, a mix between a purr and a growl. She gently nuzzled her children with the tip of her snout. Each touch was careful, soft, filled with love that Jinho could feel through the mental bond. "My children, my precious children, you survived, you are safe." Jinho stood frozen, watching this reunion. His heart was full of joy and fear at the same time. He had done it. He had brought the Bobbies back to their mother. His promise was fulfilled. But now what? Now he was standing in front of a creature that could kill him instantly, a creature whose species had been hunted by humans. Would she see him as a friend or as an enemy? Velthara's eyes turned back to him. Those massive golden pools studied him like he was a puzzle to be solved. "Come closer, human." It was not a request, it was a command. Jinho's legs moved without his permission. He walked forward until he was standing directly in front of the great dragon's face. Her eye alone was larger than his entire body. He could see himself reflected in that golden surface. Small, weak, fragile. "The poachers who wounded me were human," Velthara said. Her voice was calm, but Jinho could feel ancient pain beneath the words. "They came with weapons and cruelty. They killed members of my kind. They tried to steal my children. I thought all humans were monsters." Jinho swallowed hard. "I am sorry. I am so sorry for what my kind did to you. It was wrong. It was evil." "Do not apologize for others," Velthara said. "You did not hurt me. They did." She was silent for a moment. Then she continued. "My children have shown me their memories. Through the bond, I have seen everything. I saw you give them your food when they were starving. I saw you carry them across mountains when they were tired. I saw you stand against predators with nothing but a stick and a small weapon." Her massive head lowered until it was almost touching the ground, until her eye was level with Jinho's face, until he could feel her warm breath washing over him like a gentle wind. "I saw you jump into the path of boiling water to save Nuri. You were burned. You were hurt, but you did not hesitate. Why? He is not your child, he is not your kind. Why did you protect him?" Jinho thought about the question. It was a good question. Why had he done it? He could have let Nuri get hurt. He could have saved himself. No one would have blamed him. The dragons were strangers, aliens. He owed them nothing. But that was not how Jinho saw it. "Because he was scared," Jinho said simply. "Because he was small and weak and needed help. Because my mother taught me that the strong should protect the weak. Because it was the right thing to do." He paused, then continued. "I know humans have done terrible things to your kind, to many kinds. We are capable of great evil, but we are also capable of great good. We are a complicated species. We are full of contradictions." Velthara was silent for a long moment. Jinho could not tell what she was thinking. Her ancient eyes were impossible to read. Then slowly, she did something that shocked him. She bowed. The great dragon, older than human civilization, powerful enough to destroy cities, lowered her head to the ground in front of him. It was a bow of respect, a bow between equals. The baby dragons sent a burst of shock through the mental bond. They had never seen their mother bow to anyone, ever. In 10,000 years, she had never shown this honor to any creature. "In all my years," Velthara said, "I have met many species, conquerors who took everything, scholars who watched everything, predators who killed everything, parasites who destroyed everything, but never have I met a species like yours." She raised her head again. Her eyes were softer now, warmer. "You are capable of such cruelty, such destruction. You could burn worlds and enslave galaxies if you chose, but you are also capable of this. A single human, alone on a strange planet, choosing to save 3 small dragons he had never met before, choosing kindness when cruelty would have been easier, choosing love when fear would have been logical." A tear rolled down Jinho's cheek. He did not know why he was crying, but he could not stop. "You are a strange species, human called Jinho, the strangest I have ever known, and perhaps because of that the most beautiful." Jinho fell to his knees, not because he was commanded to, but because his legs could no longer hold him. The weight of this moment, the weight of everything that had happened, was too much to bear standing. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you for not hatting me. Thank you for seeing me." Velthara made that low, rumbling sound again. The sound that Jinho now understood was laughter. "Thank you, small human. Thank you for bringing my children home. Thank you for reminding me that not all light has been lost in the universe." The baby dragons rushed to Jinho's side. They pressed against him, their warm scales comforting against his tired body. Bom, Duri, and Nuri, his strange little family. And above them all, Velthara watched with ancient eyes. A dragon and a human, enemies by history, friends by choice. In that dark cave, something new was beginning, something that would change the galaxy forever. The reunion between Velthara and her children was beautiful to watch. For hours, the great dragon spoke with her bobbies through their mental bond. She asked about their journey. She learned about their hunger and fear. She heard every story of how Jinho had cared for them. Jinho sat quietly in the corner of the chamber, giving them privacy. He was exhausted beyond words. His body ached in places he did not know could ache. But he was happy, truly happy. He had kept his promise. The family was together again. As the hours passed, Jinho noticed something troubling. Velthara was not moving much. Her breathing was slow and labored. Her scales, which had looked beautiful from a distance, were damaged up close. Deep cuts crossed her body. Some of them still oozed dark blood. The wounds from the poacher attack had never healed properly. The baby dragons felt their mother's weakness through the bond. They crowded around her, their small bodies trembling with fear. "Mother," Nuri said, "your wounds, they are still hurting you." Velthara's great eyes closed for a moment. When she opened them again, they were filled with a sad acceptance that made Jinho's heart break. "Yes, my child. The weapons they used were not normal weapons. They were poisoned, designed to kill Velthrani slowly. I have fought the poison for many cycles. I thought I could survive long enough to see you again." She paused, her breathing grew heavier. "And now I have. I have seen your faces one more time. That is all I needed." Bom, Duri, and Nuri began to cry, not with sounds but with waves of sadness that flowed through the mental bond. Jinho could feel their pain like a knife in his heart. Their mother was dying. She had used the last of her strength to wait for them, and now there was nothing left. "No," Jinho said suddenly. He stood up and walked toward the great dragon. "No, you cannot give up. There must be something we can do. Medicine, healing, something." Velthara looked at him with gentle eyes. "You are kind, human called Jinho, but some things cannot be fixed. The poison has been in my body for too long. My heart grows weaker with each passing moment. By sunrise, I will join my ancestors in the stars." Jinho shook his head. He could not accept this. After everything they had been through, after the long journey and the dangers they faced, it could not end like this. It was not fair. It was not right. "Then tell me what to do," he begged. "Tell me how to help your children. They cannot survive alone. They are too young. If you are gone, who will protect them?" Velthara was quiet for a long moment. Then slowly she spoke again. "That is why I waited. That is why I held on to life even when every breath was agony, because I needed to find someone to protect my children after I am gone." Her great golden eyes focused on Jinho, with an intensity that made him feel small and large at the same time. "I choose you, Jinho Park. I choose you to be their guardian." The chamber went silent. The baby dragons stared at their mother in shock. Jinho stared at her with his mouth open. "Me," he whispered, "but I am just a human, a stranger. I cannot raise dragons. I do not know anything about your kind." "You know enough," Velthara said firmly. "You know how to love. You know how to protect. You know how to be kind when kindness is hard. That is more than most creatures in this universe know." She raised her head with effort. It was clearly painful for her, but she forced herself to move. She breathed a soft flame toward Jinho. He flinched, expecting to burn. But the fire did not hurt him. It was warm like sunlight. It wrapped around his body like a blanket. When the flame faded, Jinho looked at his arms. Beautiful patterns had appeared on his skin, swirling designs that glowed faintly with golden light. They spiraled from his hands up to his shoulders. They were stunning, otherworldly. "This is the mark of the Velthrani," Velthara explained. "It is a sacred symbol. It means you are kin guardian to my clutch. You are family now, not by blood but by bond. A bond that is stronger than any blood connection." Bam, Duri, and Nuri touched the marks on Jinho's arms with their small snouts. They could feel it. The bond had deepened. He was no longer just their friend. He was their guardian, their protector, their family. "When my children grow," Velthara continued, "they will remember what you have done. They will tell other Velthrani the story of the human who saved them. They will show the mark on your skin and speak of your kindness. And one day, perhaps, they will seek out other humans like you." She lowered her head again. Her eyes were growing dim. Her time was running out. "Promise me something, Jinho Park. Promise me you will raise my children to be good, to be kind, to judge others by their actions, not by their species. The universe is full of darkness, but I believe there is light as well. Creatures like you prove this." Jinho fell to his knees before her. Tears streamed down his face. "I promise, I swear on my life, I will protect them, I will teach them, I will love them as if they were my own." Velthara made that low, rumbling sound one more time. It was not laughter now, it was peace, acceptance, gratitude. "Then I can rest. At last I can rest." She called her children to her one final time. She nuzzled each of them gently. She whispered words into their minds that Jinho could not hear, private words, a mother's last gift to her Bobbies. Then, as the first light of dawn crept into the cave, Velthara the Great One closed her eyes. Her breathing slowed. Her massive heart beat once, twice, and then silence. She was gone. The baby dragons cried for hours. Jinho held them close, letting them press their small bodies against his. He did not try to stop their tears. He did not try to make them feel better with empty words. He just held them and let them grieve. Some pain was too deep for words. All you could do was be there. 3 weeks later, a rescue ship from Earth detected Jinho's emergency beacon. The ship landed near the crash site, and a crew emerged to search for survivors. Their leader was a woman named Captain Salmon Beak. She was tall, serious, and very confused by what she found. "Lieutenant Park," she called out as she searched the area. "Jinho Park, are you here?" "Over here, Captain." Salmon turned toward the voice. She saw Jinho standing at the edge of a cliff, looking out at the crystal forest below. He looked different than she expected. Thinner, tired, but there was a peace in his eyes that she had never seen before. And on his shoulders sat 3 small dragons. Salmon's hand went to her weapon. "Lieutenant, step away from those creatures. Slowly. Are you hurt? Have they attacked you?" Jinho smiled. It was a calm, gentle smile. "They are not dangerous, Captain. They are my family." He turned to face her fully. The marks on his arms glowed in the morning light. The dragons watched Salmon with curious golden eyes. They were bigger now than when Jinho had first found them, still small but growing stronger every day. I have a lot to explain, Jinho said. About this planet, about the Velthrani, about what humans have done here, both good and bad. I hope you will listen. Salmon stared at him for a long moment. Then slowly she lowered her weapon. There was something in Jinho's eyes, something real, something true. All right, Lieutenant, I am listening. On the journey back to the main ship, Jinho told Salmon everything. He told her about the crash, about finding the baby dragons, about the journey to find their mother, about Velthara's last gift and last request. Salmon listened without interrupting. When Jinho finished, she was quiet for a long time. This is going to change everything, she finally said. First contact with an intelligent species, and it happened because you shared your dinner with some hungry kids. Jinho laughed. It was the first time he had laughed in weeks. Yes, I suppose it did. Bam, Duri, and Nuri pressed against Jinho from their place in his lap. Through their bond, he could feel their emotions. They were sad about their mother. They would always be sad about her. But they were also hopeful, hopeful about the future, hopeful about the strange human who had promised to love them. As the ship flew toward the stars, Jinho looked out the window at the violet planet below. Somewhere on that world, in a cave deep within the mountains, a great dragon rested forever. She had died protecting her children. She had chosen a human to continue that protection. Jinho touched the marks on his arms. They were warm under his fingers, a constant reminder of his promise. I will not fail you, he whispered. I will show the universe what humanity can be. I will raise your children to be proud of their mother. And one day, humans and Velthrani will stand together, not as enemies, but as family. Above him, the stars sparkled like a million possibilities. A new chapter was beginning, not just for Jinho and his small dragons, but for two species who had found each other across the darkness of space. And it had all started with a bowl of leftover stew and a simple act of kindness.